Hello, hello. Welcome back to Business First Creatives. Today, Brittany Herzberg is back. Imagine all of the confetti, the drums, all of it. You guys know that I've told you this several times, but before I hit record with my guests, I literally asked her a question. She started to answer. I knew where she was going, and I said, oh, just never mind. I'm going to hit record. Let's go.
She basically told me to shut up, and here we are.
I definitely did. So today, we are going to be taking the perspective of talking about how both of us have been in the done for you world for quite some time and what it means to kind of look into transitioning to the done with you. Now, you guys all know I'm there and I'm not going back. So let's just say that up front. But Brittany is still in that messy middle. And so that's what we're going to chat about today. Brittany, welcome back to the podcast. What is this? Number 4? 5?
I think it's 4. I don't know. I meant to go back and look and I didn't because,
that's okay. I mean, all of her previous episodes will be linked in the show notes, guys. So you guys can go look for yourself. And you know what? If we actually include every time I've been on your podcast, it is way more than 6, 7, 8 at this point.
Yeah. And I need to have you back. So we're just going to just keep this happy party train rolling.
Yeah, I think what we said last year, Brittany, was that between you and me, we were going to do every other quarter on each other's podcast so that no one had to go more than a quarter without a Brittany and Coley conversation. And so here we are. It is still Q1. This episode is actually going to go live in Q2, though. Maybe I should find a spot for it in Q1 to kind of put it out there and make it go.
If you don't, Q2 is totally fine.
Yeah, but let's get into it. So, okay. Brittany, if people live under a rock and they have no idea what it is that you do at this point, what is the service that you offer that you kind of bounce back and forth between done for you and done with you?
The magic of SEO and sprinkling that into everything, starting with your website, but also your content, social profiles, directory listings, and on we go.
I mean, I really thought she was going to say all that stuff, guys. And the funny thing is, in the last episode where she was on this podcast, it was right after she had kind of figured out her roadmap. So really, you should listen to that episode, and it is linked in the show notes. But she was like, we start with your website, and then we look at, you were talking about podcasting. And I mean, that was a really great conversation. But we're not going to be talking so much about the actual SEO today, but more how Brittany helps you as a service provider and how she has kind of navigated her own offer ecosystem around helping you get found anywhere that someone searches for you. Did I get that right, Brittany?
Brava. I'm over here clapping under the camera. It's great.
Okay, so what did your done for you look like? Because technically, if we go all the way back to the very first time that you were on this podcast, you were still heavy in SEO, but you were screaming case studies from, the mountainside or whatever. But so what does done for you look like now in relation to SEO?
Still doing websites, still starting there. That is the big project. Here's maybe something to give it some context. You go to most SEO professionals, most SEO strategists or agencies, they're going to put you in a monthly retainer. They will eventually do all of your SEO on your main website, core website pages, but they're going to be doing all of the things. I like getting you started with your website so we're really clear on your messaging. I totally understand your audience, your offers, what makes you stand out and special and different. Why are people sending people to you? So we still are doing that. I'm still doing done for you, keyword research, having people review that, making sure I'm not missing something, especially when it comes to their language, their jargon, their world. I don't know all the attorney shit. I don't know all of the photography. I just don't. I don't. So I'm having them help me there. Then I put together the SEO strategies for those website pages. They review them because while they're not copy that's on your website, it's still representing you. And I still want this to feel like it fits your message and your vibe. So we're doing that. And then I'm plugging it in on their websites. And then we're having usually a meeting at the end of it just to chit chat and talk next steps. And many people are then going on to monthly done for you SEO support.
Now, what does your done with you look like in perspective to that? Because I mean, that still kind of sounds a little bit like done with you. I'm going to be honest, Brittany. I mean, you're still having the strategy conversation with them, but then you're running off, at your desk, hidden probably under a blanket, doing all of this keyword research, but then you're handing them something that is actually done. So how does that compare to the container that you use to deliver done with you.
So they are doing, the business owners are doing more of the doing, and then I'm coming in to check their work almost, like that extra set of eyes. And I've got my strategist hat on more so. So I'm not coming up with things, but I also kind of am coming up with things because there's usually like blog ideas that I'll think of or something like that. But the biggest difference is that they're doing it and bringing me stuff to look at. And then I can then give thoughts, ideas, opinions, insights, all of that good stuff. But it is really fun because those business owners end up having so many more ideas that they want to act on, which I'm sure you're seeing that with your stuff too. And I want to hear about it.
I do. And so I just want to plant a seed that the entire time I've been talking about done with you, I've been talking about it from my own offer ecosystem, from the perspective of I spent 10 years in a classroom, basically teaching people how to do shit, having them do it, and then checking their work. Now, guys, we're talking about math, we're talking about algebra, we're talking about statistics, very different things than what you do inside of your business. I will grant you that. But I've always known that I had a knack for helping you understand complicated shit and giving you feedback and, essentially a gold star, if you will, when you did it correctly. But I'm super interested in the fact that Brittany is moving her business in the same way because she doesn't have a teacher, background like I do. So how did you figure out that kind of having people come to you for the strategy and giving them the homework and basically checking it off and giving them a grade, if you will, was something that you enjoyed?
Okay, so it all started back in third grade. I'm not even shitting you. I really wanted to be a teacher. From the time I was 5 until the time I was 18, I was convinced I was going to go to the normal 4-year college, get a degree, go teach, and I really wanted to teach 3rd or 4th grade. Okay. That didn't happen for many different reasons. And yet, I still never lost that thread of wanting to teach people, loving teaching people. I mean, I was in my massage therapy class, and I was quizzing them before the class would actually start. I was in, let's take it back even further, you're talking algebra. There was a group of us where we were doing algebra 2 in 8th grade, and we had our own little section and stuff. And I was helping, I still remember this. I'm so scared every time I say this. You're going to laugh. I would let people copy my homework, but the deal was you could copy my homework, but I was going to tell you how I got the answer. So you were still going to have me teaching in your ear. And actually it helped them to get things clicked. So I've always had the heart of a teacher, and my brain, very similar to your brain, just breaks stuff down in a way that people get it.
Yeah, you definitely make SEO digestible because, like systems, I feel like SEO is this thing that people imagine is just, super, super complicated. And I always giggle a little bit to myself because I have so many of you that are my SEO friends. You guys have all been on my podcast multiple times. I often joke around that if I ever stop doing systems, I think SEO just might be something that I dip my toes in, if you will, because there is definitely a strategy. There is definitely a checklist at the end of the day of a minimally viable setup when it comes to your SEO. And it's just not as complicated as people make it out to be.
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
I mean, I listened to you on your podcast. I listened to you on other people's podcasts because you were on Chelsea Quint's podcast recently.
Did you hear that one?
Oh, I did. Of course I did. I mean, Chelsea is one of my team members now. And of course I love you. So yes, I was listening to all of it. Also laughing at the fact that you were ripping Chelsea apart as the examples as we went. Chelsea, I know you're listening to this because I'm sending you this recording.
I love you.
I love you. But I mean, Chelsea is definitely one of those people where, you have this idea of how complicated it could be, or it's just something that you put on a to-do list and you never get to it. Very similar to setting up the workflows on the back end of your business. And so I feel like you and I definitely have that in common, but also what you and I help people with is something that they see as very complicated and something that they can't grasp without paying somebody to do it often. But you and I are both no, we want to help you do this. Let us hold your hands while you do it.
Yes, exactly. And that's, as soon as I learned what SEO was and I saw it working in my business, I was like, hold the phone. This is not so complicated. People are out here spewing lies and making it seem even more complicated, even more costly, even more confusing. And I'm like, I still see this. We are in 2026, people. I was so livid the other day on Threads because I saw someone say something. I was like, no. But now there's this little like quote button where I can like reshare it with my thoughts. And so I was like, no. So yeah, no, that is like a very big thing for me where I get super protective of other people. If, you know, initially it was my friends and now it's just like other business owners. I cannot even know you and I want you to have the right information and I want you to at least understand big picture, like zoomed out. This is what you're working with. It's not that hard.
I just realized the next time that you come on this podcast, we're going to talk about your human design and we're going to get,
Yes.
I know, we're going to get Brianna to say some stuff because listening to you, I was like, ooh, I wonder if I can pick out her motivators and stuff. But that's not for today's conversation. That's for a different
Voxer.
Yes, that's for Voxer. And then we can kind of figure that shit out on the podcast episode. But coming back around, you said something really interesting. You're like, as soon as you saw it win, as soon as you figured out, you know, the result and you got a win, you were like, oh yeah, this is awesome. I feel the same way about a system. Like we set up the system and the first time that you have somebody inquire with you and that automatic email goes out, or the first time that you send that 5-minute booking proposal and you get paid like an hour later and you're like, holy shit, I'm cooking dinner and I just got paid $1,500 without doing anything else. It's magical. And for you, that's probably the first time that someone does their, you know, SEO. They're seeing that their search is increasing. People are coming to their websites. And then that first person that says, I found you on Google, when that has never happened before, has to be like that win of, oh my gosh, like this shit actually works.
Oh my God, I love it. I saved the screenshots. You know me, I'm a screenshot whore. I have a folder just dedicated to my SEO program people of every time. I have this like wins thread. So I'm always like encouraging them and nudging them, like, what are we celebrating? It doesn't have to be about SEO. But every single round, there are people and they're like, oh my God, it actually worked. And even me, I'm sure you feel similarly, even me being over here like, yeah, I know it works. Every time I'm like, I know it actually works.
I mean, maybe we need to figure out a way, because I know that you share the screenshots like on your website and I know that you put them on threads, but like, I need people to just hear the wins over and over again. But you know, I also get the ick when I look at people doing what I call income marketing. Like, I don't want to tell you that my client made this proposal and sent 4 out and got $5,000 in 48 hours. Like, it feels icky, but also it's the truth. And you should want this too. And if you just give me like a little bit of time to help you with this proposal, this is what you could get. I feel like the equivalent for like the SEO world is inside of Dubsado, which, you know, Brittany is now a Dubsado user in case you missed that little bit. You know that you can do your project source. And so I would be encouraging every single one of your clients, as I do mine, to like make Google and now maybe even AI. I mean, because, you know, now we've got AI search and all this, but like making Google one of the options of someone can tell you that's where they found you. And if you're looking at your project source data, Dubsado will actually tell you how much money you made from people who said they found you on Google or said that they found you on ChatGPT. I can't believe that's a thing right now, but it is.
No, it totally is. And there's even, I think it was just this week, came out with like, you can even go in there and nerd out and see which pages are being served up from your website. So if it's a blog post or a service or just one of your core website pages, like which ones are actually leading to visits on your site from something like ChatGPT. I know. I will show you how to
Did you make a video? I know. Have you made a video that I can share in the show notes yet?
No, okay. But I will.
Guys, she's going to make a video. We're going to put it in the show notes because I'm fascinated to watch that. I mean, to be honest, looking at Google Console and just in general, like my Honeybook versus Dubsado blog post is very searched. It's the highest impressions, the most clicks, all of that kind of stuff. And so, I mean, you know, I would love for there to be some content out there that's not Honeybook versus Dubsado, because I feel like it's getting really old to do that. But also, it is where people are coming from, and so I will take it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really helpful. And the reason you keep showing up for that and surfacing for that is because people are still curious. That question's not going anywhere. They're still curious. It still happens on threads. I'm still tagging you. Other people are still tagging you like, dude, just go talk to Coley.
So let's come back around to your Done With You container. How long do you have people inside of the Done With You container?
So I've been testing. Started out with 3 months. We've landed on about 3.5 because I want to have some implementation weeks. And that has been very helpful. It started with just like, we have the holidays and we need to take the weeks off. And but if you want to work, here are a couple of tasks you could do. but I'm keeping those baked in. So about 3.5 months.
Okay. And in your done with you container, what does it look like to actually consume the information that they need in order to get their SEO set up? Like, do you have like, I don't want to call them trainings because it's not a course, but if is there a course element to it? Are there trainings that they consume that tell them how to do the different things that you want them to do while they are inside of this 3.5 month container?
Yes. So that's another thing that I've been building the thing as I'm flying it and pulling people on board, which is like just like the story of my life, and with the human design thing, it will tie in. But yes, there's a hub. There are training videos. I was at first just including like the replays from the previous round, but that was a lot of like me teaching and then Q&A and then some coaching. So I really wanted to give them like the bite size, this is what you need to do. This is the information. So that is still like in the tail end of getting all the things done and implemented and posted on the portal. But yes, that is how.
I mean, and I understand because, I've had a lot of iterations of basically I want you to get your systems right. These are all of the ways that you can work with me. And I had the course. And initially, when I was working inside of systems and sessions with people, I was like, okay, you need to know how to edit this proposal. Well, here's the proposal template. And also, here's a Loom video that I had for my blueprint course that tells you how to customize and personalize this template. Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what I was doing for like my whole first, I don't know, beta group of people, which was about 4.5 months when I had different people inside of the offer as a beta client. But then I came around to, okay, every single one of these clients are doing this and this and this. And I should probably just make a video training library specific for them that is recorded in a way that I know that it's for my systems and sessions clients and not for blueprint students. Because, when you record a video and it's inside of a course, you're often referencing other things that they did previously, things that they're going to do next. And I felt kind of bad giving my clients those videos because I'm like, it's talking about things that you may or may not have done. And so I'm like you. I mean, I think that when you're doing it messy, and you're figuring your shit out, using what you already have is great. But once you've settled on, no, like this is the thing that I'm going to sell over and over again, that's when you start getting a little bit more serious about creating the core materials that these people are going to use. And for done with you, I think that whatever the service is, figuring out what those core materials need to be is super important so that you don't find yourself explaining the same shit over and over and over again to different clients inside your container.
Exactly. Yeah. And even as you're talking, I'm like, I have my SEO basics course, which is under $200. And then I have the SEO and Grow group coaching program. And even for those two, I was using really a lot of the same videos. But even now I'm like, okay, I actually need to shift what I'm doing for the course so that they have this to work through. And I'm not saying, oh, and you can submit homework, but only if you're in SEO and Grow. Like that's my next shift.
Okay. So you've worked with these people, you've been testing and playing around with like the length of the container. Now you're really focusing on getting like those core materials out. Is there anything else that you were offering, let's say, to the initial first beta group that you have kind of phased out that you feel like is important to touch on in case someone else is going through that? Let me think about the things that I was doing in the done for you and translating it into the done with you and making sure that it's really keeping them on track for the results that you're trying to promise them.
There's a couple of things coming to mind. The first is that the very, very first time I ran SEO and Grow, it was not what it is even now. So one thing I did was got really, really clear on my framework. And I worked with Megan Elaney to do this. So I got really clear on like, these are the 3 core things that I'm guiding people through. And once I did that, I was like, oh, duh, that's how I'm going to structure the Done With You program. It makes so much more sense. Whereas with the first round, I was really grasping. I was like, well, we could do this and then this and then this. But that was a big, big shift that I think makes things make a lot more sense to the people who are in there now. So that is one thing. Totally lost the second thing.
It's okay. You mentioned Megan. I mean, we're like 20 minutes into the
I
conversation. I'm
know.
surprised she hasn't come up before. But my version of Megan is Emily Williams. And so
Yeah.
one of the things that she she pokes me constantly. Okay, but Coley, what's the result that you're promising? And I, like you, started with like this wide open fucking promise of, I'm going to help you get your Dubsado and Honeybook where it needs to be. That was literally what I promised, like the first crop of beta clients. Now, did I have an idea of exactly what that meant? Of course. We're going to make sure that your inquiry, workflow is on point so that everybody's getting an automated response. We're going to make sure that your booking process takes less than
Coley,
5 minutes and you're automatically following up. We're going to make sure that your onboarding process doesn't depend on you clicking buttons to give them what they need. Like, I had the results, but they were not articulated in any fashion to, I would say, the first 8 or 9 people that came into systems and session. And it wasn't until Emily literally on every call was like, Coley, you need to think about the core result. What is it that you want them to do at the end of working with you? That I finally got myself a list. And like now I am talking about that everywhere and anywhere that I can.
I would say my version of that was like having this list of things for people to work through. Like, this is the thing you're focusing on first. This is the next thing. So now I actually have, like, I call it a master task list, and I keep it in we have a Telegram channel. So there's different threads for different things. One has all their recordings. One of them has all of the master tasks. So even between round 1 and 2, going, oh, okay, it's really helpful if they know exactly what these like different benchmarks are, where they need to be stopping and doing all these different things. And so for me, having that was really helpful. But yes, also thinking through the results. And another word that's coming up is like transformation. So you're starting at this point, but you're coming all the way over to this point. Like, what is that and what does that look like? That's been helpful for me.
So I've got a question specifically for you because we can all agree that SEO is a long term game. Like, it's not that you're going to do this and immediately the leads are going to come in tomorrow. And so how have you found that you have been able to keep your clients on track when they're doing these things and they're not actually getting like immediate results that they can be like, oh yeah, this was totally worth it? Because we already said, when you get that first inquiry from Google, and the client says that and you've never been told that, that's fabulous. And it's even better if that person ends up actually paying you money. But for, I would imagine, some of your clients, it doesn't happen until they're almost at the end of the container or until they've actually like graduated and they're out into the real world, like putting these things into practice.
That is a really good point. And I have had a couple of rock stars, usually one in every single round, where they will just knock it out in 2 weeks. They will go through, they will get all the website pages listed out, they will do all the SEO strategies, they'll get things plugged in. And that is the meat of what we're doing in my program. They will knock that out so fast, and they will actually have those people who've done it like really early on have had this wild success pretty quickly. So that, I think, has been really helpful for some other people who haven't been able to implement as quickly. They're like, oh, okay, I can see it's possible because she's right here next to me and she's doing it and she's having this success. So it's possible. There's other things that I've done as well where I do try to bring in like my done for you clients, my done with you clients into these workshops that I like hosting because I love hosting them. So I've like just kind of like on the fly decided like that's something that I'm going to make sure that people can join me in. So like an example this round was the January blogging workshop. So that just got added into things. So then there's other people that get to see things from each other. And like, it's so much nicer in a community because you get to, the whole done with you thing. So you get to see other people's successes, and that just, it fuels the fire. It motivates you. I also think for SEO specifically, people going from like, oh, this is going to be a strategy that's going to take a year for me to see any kind of payoff with, to coming into my world where I'm like, actually, I've tracked my statistics and data with clients, and they're actually having results, meaning more traffic, ranking for better keywords, having sales, having those inquiries that do lead to bookings within like as little as 4 to 6 weeks, on average 4 to 6 weeks, and as little as 2 weeks, I should say. So their expectations were like, oh, this is so far away. And then they come in my world and I'm like, it's actually closer than you probably think. And they're like, oh, okay. So even just that managing expectations with SEO specifically has been an interesting part of my journey always. But if we go back, I was a massage therapist, and even managing expectations with that was a huge part of my job. So I feel like that was one part of that skill set that I was able to translate into this world with strategy with SEO.
And I just realized there is such a difference in how I do the done with you and how you do, because yours is definitely like a group container. They're in there together. They're in the Telegram. All of mine is individual one-to-one. And it is one of the things that people come to me. They're like, okay, wait, like, Coley, is this like a group program? I'm like, no. I'm like, you're all joining systems in session, but like we are working one-to-one. There are no group calls, only one-to-one calls. And I mean, I know that I could get some of my time back if I turned these into group calls, and I wasn't meeting with each of my clients every single week for the first 4 weeks. I know this. But also, I feel like we can be so much more focused on you and your systems and personalizing your customer journey if I just talk to you for 30 minutes for the first 4 weeks. Now, one of the things that I did, it was originally you can book a call whenever you want, which sounds very dangerous in theory. I didn't really have anybody that was booking a call every single day, but originally I was like allotting time on my calendar so that on the client call days, I had enough spots for every single one of my clients to book a 20-minute call if they wanted one. Now, what ended up happening, because you get data, I get data. A lot of my beta clients weren't booking calls at the very beginning. And when I finally started pushing them on, no, you need to book a call. I can just explain this to you. Go book a call. When they would get on, they would be like, oh, but Coley, I didn't want to bother you with this. I was like, but then you wasted your time trying to figure it out when I just could have shown you on a call and been done. So that's why I transitioned from like willy-nilly, you can book a call anytime you want, 20 minutes, to now everybody gets a 30-minute call for the first 4 weeks, because I'm also moving towards a promise of in the first 30 days, you will get your first offer completely designed and implemented in Dubsado or Honeybook in the first 30 days. And so the reason that I'm pushing people to do this is so that they can start to see the results and what happens when everything is in place for the next 30 days when they're still working with me. And so I love that you have data to tell your clients, hey, no, some of my clients are getting results in the first 4 to 6 weeks. And guess what? Like, you're still with me for at least 2 more months. What else can we make happen in this time period?
Yeah. There's something that you're making me think of even too with there can be a personalized element to, I mean, I'm always spending time in everyone's Google Docs. I'm always asking, even on the group coaching calls, which we have almost weekly. I'm constantly like, any other questions? Anything else? And like, I'm shutting up and I'm like, anything. And as soon as I even like poke, it's like, oh yeah, there is a thing. There's always a thing. So I like allotting that space to them, like on the calls. I like working with them in the Google Docs. And with all of my people, another thing I implemented was a kickoff call. So everybody always gets a kickoff call. Depending on when they sign up, if they have signed up, like, let's say they signed up 2 months in advance because they knew that they wanted to go for the March round, then we have an hour call because we have that time. We have that space. I want to be able to talk with you. Maybe you've watched some of the videos. Maybe you don't have a clue where the program is hosted. And you're like, what do I do? So we can spend that time doing whatever we need to do. And I get to give you that attention. So I do like having that personalized element. But yeah, I really like that you have the calls, the weekly calls with them at the beginning. It really is cool when people can have those wins during the process, like during that time where they're working with you, because then you get to celebrate with them. But it's also like they're floored because it worked so quickly.
Yes. And also it's a really good motivator. And in your group, it's like group motivation. Oh, they did this. And if I do it, I can get this result too. But for my clients, it's, holy shit, that worked. Okay, let me go hurry up and do my second offer or my third offer for my clients that have that. And I do think that like this period of refinement, especially when you've been the person doing the thing for people for so long, and now you're trying to teach them and walk them through doing it. One of the things that I changed was everybody is still technically getting a kickoff call, but it used to be that it was a 1-hour kickoff call. And then, we got started. But recently for 2026, I decided that all of my systems and session people now have to do email like you mean it first, which is a group container. That is group, but it is done with you. It's live for 5 days. And if you can't join the live one, that's fine. You can DIY it based on the materials that I'm giving you, but everybody has to get that part done before your first call. And the reason that we're doing that is now you are having a bigger hand in mapping out your entire customer journey and bringing it to me, rather than what we had did in the past was we would have that 1 hour kickoff call. And that was when I was basically poking and prodding you to get you to tell me everything about your business so that we could plan your customer journey live. But now that you do that in a different container and you come to me, we can start to do things so much faster inside of the container because we're not doing a majority of the planning. Now, you bring me your customer journey, I am, of course, going to give you feedback, especially if you DIY'd it and you didn't do the live 5-day sprint with me. But like, this is just one of those things where I'm trying to move people through the container faster so that you can get wins faster, so that you can get more accomplished inside of the 60-day.
Exactly. Yes. No, I love that. And that's been one of the cool things to look at too, is like, what do they need to have to actually bring in to the program so that we can actually like hit the ground running. All right, Coley, I'm going to flip the tables on you because we know I like doing this. So you've already made the transition. You are fully done with you. I'm still, like you said, flirting with done for you. Not flirting. I have 5 clients at this time, like booked, scheduled. What made you make the entire jump over to done with you?
So I kept, there's that thing where when you avoid doing something, you got to figure out why. In the past, I have been somebody who can get motivated, especially if I'm like up on a deadline. It's like, ooh, I got to get this done by tomorrow. I need to start. And in my current mental state, I don't do that. I just avoid it. So then I'm like, okay, why am I avoiding it? Because when I actually jump into it, it just won't take that long. But like, I am currently unable to like motivate myself to do it, even though I know a deadline is looming. And so it was just like, over the last few years, I am now a changed person, and done for you was not something that I could really keep all of the tasks and all of the things in my brain in order to go forward. And, when you're having like an existential crisis and you're like, what am I going to do? What do the coaches tell you? Well, what do you enjoy about your job? And how can we make you do more of that? So literally, I was like, I like telling people what to do and then telling them if they did it correctly. And that is not done for you. No. That is in no way, shape, or form done for you. And, when I look at my course, the course was fine. People were running through it. But like 2.5 years ago, I took the course from being more like what we would consider to be a group program. To be honest, my course was probably very similar to your Done With You program back then. But I was trying to move into more passive delivery, basically to give myself more time for Done For You. And so I took away all of those like live group elements and made it DIY. And it's not that the people weren't still getting results. I mean, the course at that point was done in a way to where when you went through it, all your systems were set up. You didn't have to come to me for questions because I had addressed and answered all of the questions inside the course. But then I started missing the part where I was interacting with people. So I don't want to do it for you. I don't want you to do it and me not know what you did and be available for your questions. And so, I'd had this idea for almost 6 months of, I really want to do this, like doing it alongside them, but not in a group capacity, like 1-to-1. What does that look like? And I mean, I've told this story on the podcast, but I got 2 beta people, and then I got 2 more beta people, and then I got, was it 4 more beta people? And then I was like, okay, this shit is not beta anymore. Let's go. And so, that was when I was like, here we go. And then I sold out the rest of 2025 when I was like fully committed. So, I mean, that's how it started. But I think the next thing that you and I should talk about is what our clients get from Done With You that they don't get from Done For You. Because again, I did this for me. But when my clients started telling me they had more confidence in their systems, they were able to go forward and do things on their own, I was like, oh, this was really better for them. I should have done this shit a long time ago.
I think the quote that I have that encapsulates that the best, and I talk about it all the time, Dr. Cecily was in my program, and she said that SEO has made me a savvier business owner.
Yes.
I mean, mic drop much?
Yes.
Like, that alone like that will be plastered on my sales page. That will be on my gravestone. Like that makes it all worth it for me. And she still to this day is telling me that. So, you know, figuring out your who, your offers, the part that makes you different, fully fucking stepping into that finally, and letting that guide you in your business and all of your marketing decisions and all of your steps and all of your systems and all of your, that's priceless. I literally can't put a price on that. So come through the program and go be a better business owner. Yes, please.
I mean, but why did I not know that? I mean, I kind of feel stupid at the end of the day. I'm like, why did I not know that doing it in this way was going to make them more confident? Like, I don't understand why I was unable to put that together, because I will say the first 2 people that told me that, I was like, oh, that's them. And then 2 more people said it. And I was like, okay, holy shit. Like, they're all saying the word confident. And guess what? They're not on group calls to get it from each other. So they're saying these things independent of each other. And then when I started asking, you know, what's the best thing that came out of the program? They're not saying workflows that finally work. I was like, what the fuck? That's what I promised you. Why is that not the thing that you're talking about? They're all talking about, I feel so confident in my systems. And actually, one person last year, she's going to be on the podcast soon. I'm going to try to see if she says this on the podcast. But she was like, I actually like and understand Dubsado now. And I was like, wow. And then she followed it up with, I feel comfortable making changes in my own systems. And I was like, oh, that's so great to hear. And that particular client had actually hired somebody else to do done for you first. Now, they didn't have their entire systems done. They only had like the first portion, basically the inquiry and the booking. And I mean, you know, there wasn't anything wrong with her systems. She just didn't feel like she understood how they worked in order to go in and make the changes that she wanted to make. And so she's like, I really want to do systems and sessions so that I can, like, you know, run my own systems. And, you know, when I want to make changes in the future, I feel confident doing it. And so, you know, that's the word that I keep hearing over and over again is confidence.
Yeah.
And, you know, I asked Chelsea, because I had a call with her this morning before I chatted with you. I said, "Hey, Chelsea, is there anything that you want me to make sure that I like mention when I'm talking to Brittany?" And she's like, "I want you to talk about the systems breaking." And I was like, I don't think that's a thing for Brittany, but it'll probably come up. So this is what I'm going to say. The thing that my clients get now that they didn't get with the done for you is what to do when the systems break. Like when my clients' systems break now or they want to make changes, they are doing it themselves. When my done for you clients, when their systems broke, you know, a bug, maybe they modified something and it was no longer working, whatever it was, they always came back to me to fix it. And like, you know, sometimes it was a quick free fix. Other times it was, oh, we need to redo this whole workflow. You know, you can hire me for an hour and I will do it. But regardless if it was paid or free, they didn't have the confidence or the knowledge to fix it themselves, even if I had walked them through the possibility of something happening in a Loom video. But like all of my systems and sessions clients are like, yeah, I mean, unless it's like something, because currently there's a Dubsado bug that's driving me a little bonkers. And so that is like a legitimate, your shit is broken. It has nothing to do with you. And guess what? I can't even fix it. So I'm hoping that by the time this airs, which is why I'm not naming the bug should be gone. But I mean, there are legitimate cases where, you know, your systems are breaking and it has nothing to do with you. But my clients now have the confidence and the knowledge to try the things and come to me as a last resort versus coming to me immediately to like diagnose and correct whatever the issue is.
Yeah. I would say the thing that's coming to mind as you're describing that is the maintenance phase. So like the ongoing, basically never ending part of SEO that actually makes it the very sustainable marketing strategy that it is. They are confident now to like, oh, they're dreaming up all of these blog post ideas. They know how to put the strategy in there. They are then taking that also into their podcast, those of them that have podcasts. The other crazy thing is that I have had so many people come in my world, join the program, get in there and go, oh, I want to move my website to a different host because I see that it's easier to do SEO on XYZ platform. I want to rewrite my entire website because I now see where I'm missing the mark and I wasn't communicating these things to the people. I'm like, that's amazing. And they're not like looking at it like, oh God, I have this giant thing to do. I mean, probably, but they're really excited about it. They're lit up. They're motivated to do it because they can see how that can really actually move the needle more so than like posting a carousel on Instagram.
Do you ever feel like you have to apologize? Like, look, I know you're coming to me for this one thing, but please be warned. It may cause you to do XYZ, which is move your website, completely redo your blog, like all of these things that they didn't anticipate doing when they come in. My client's little aha moment recently has been every single person is saying, I didn't understand how systems in session was going to touch my entire business.
Yeah.
Because, yes, we are making workflows that work. I don't know why I keep saying that phrase. We
It's
are doing
a fun
that.
phrase.
I know, right? But we are also making sure that your offers are priced profitable. We are also looking at all of the things that you do with your clients that isn't housed inside of your CRM. So no, even though the initial promise that I made to all my done with you people is, we're going to make your Dubsado and Honeybook work like you want it to. I mean, we have gone well beyond that at this point to really building that like high touch premium experience that you want your clients to have and that you want them to brag about to like all of their friends, if you will. And so I can totally see, Brittany, how people come into your world and they're like, oh, well, I thought I was going to do this. But now 3.5 months later, I mean, I never thought that I would redo my entire website. But like basically, I've learned these things from Brittany and I can't help but not do these other things to make it even more impactful inside my business.
Yes, definitely. Do I apologize? Not so much, because I've only just realized that this happens every single round. And I'm like, oh, okay. So will I start apologizing? Possibly. But also, like, do I want to apologize for helping you make your entire business better? No. And making this doable and making you excited and confident. That is definitely a big word that comes up in my world too, is like, I feel confident to do these things. I feel confident to even look at the numbers, any of that stuff. But as you were talking, I was like curious about this because I feel like this comes up for me. I don't call myself a business coach. There are so many things that a business coach does that I don't feel like I do. Maybe one day I'll feel like I'm more capable of doing those things. But do you find that that kind of creeps in to the conversations that you have with people? Because I feel like that comes up in my world like big time.
Clients, if you're listening and you see parts of this on Threads, you feel free to come comment. In almost every single call, my client will ask me a question and I'm like, so I'm answering this to you as a business coach and not as a systems strategist. And then I, give my opinions because let's be honest, I have all of the opinions, but I am often like very clear to them. This is what I'm telling you to do as like your system strategist, if you will. But like, if you had came to me before you made this decision and this decision as a business coach, I would have told you to do this. And I don't know why I feel the need to like designate between the two. I don't think it's necessary. I think a lot of my clients probably do see me as a business coach, even though, you're hiring me to basically, design and help you implement your systems. But at the end of the day, what I want you to walk out of systems in session with is like a holistic business that basically brings you joy and a paycheck, as I say on this podcast all the time. Like that's what I want you to have. And so sometimes I have to coach you through decisions that you either needed to make or that you made a bad choice before you got into my world and you're trying to implement these things inside of Dubsado or Honeybook. And I'm like, good systems don't cover shit offers. I say that all the time. And while I don't consider myself to be an offer strategist, I have been coaching photographers and really like other people on offers for so long. It is something that I have that innate knowledge in. And I want to make sure that we are not spending 2 months together building systems around an offer that I, quite frankly, don't think you're going to be able to sell. I don't think that you're communicating what's included in it very well. And like, I don't have those conversations with every single one of my clients. But I'm having it with a lot of people when they're coming into systems in session now, almost to the point to where, when we're having an initial conversation before you join, and they're like, my offers aren't quite where I need them to be. I'm like, don't worry, we will take care of that before you touch any of your systems. And I know you and I have specifically had this conversation before, telling people you don't have to have the shit figured out before you come to me. As the professional, that's my fucking job. And so I've taken it kind of one step further. You don't have to have it figured out what you want your systems to do or, what you want the end result to be. I take it even one step back further. And I'm like, you don't even have to like be 100% on the specific offer. As long as you've sold it and, you know, we're talking about it, I can help you refine it to where you feel comfortable about it before we put it into the CRM. I mean, don't come to me with no business. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that if you've got this offer and you're feeling kind of iffy about it, we will take the time that it needs before we actually start doing things inside of your CRM to sell the offer.
This is a really good point, because I feel like the thing that I've noticed and that I've even told people like straight up, you do not have to do market research in order to do good SEO. So that is one thing where people are like, I don't feel like I've done market research, or I don't know exactly, or I don't have the people to ask. I'm like, do you know who you want to work with? Do you know what offers you want to offer? Have you heard what makes you stand out and makes you different in the industry? If you can answer those questions, we have enough to work with. So all of the information is internal. All the information is you. It's a very different place from starting from like, what's your ideal client thinking or doing or typing or searching, to what's your desire? And that's been a really big thing I think that people have claimed, is what they want to do. Maybe it's a slightly different offer. Maybe it's a slightly different audience. My favorite thing, Cole, you'll appreciate this. My favorite thing is when people are like, I don't think people are searching for la la la. Bro, do you know how fast I open up key search? I'm like, say that one more time. What was that thing? How do you spell that? And 9.5 times out of 10, that exact phrase, or a very, 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 very closely related phrase, is right there. So yeah, you can build up this story in your head all day long, but when you go to the data, then you have no excuse. At that point, it's like, oh, they are looking for that. Oh, I can do that. Well, fuck. Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't say that anymore. Yeah, for me, the equivalent of that is every time someone's asking me about, you know, offering, positioning, because, you know, I worked with Chelsea on that. Mm-hmm. She's like, no, I think workflows is like, I can't even remember what she called it. Like a word that the average person doesn't use. And I'm like, no, people are Googling workflows because they're like, how to fix my workflow in Dubsado. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you know, I constantly try to get away from talking about workflows, because workflows are the end result. Before you can create workflows, you have to know what you want to do with your client, what you need to say to them, and when you need to say it. That is the first step, which is why I, you know, create an email like you mean it in the first place, because those are things that you have to know before you ever try to create workflows to run them or automate them. But everybody is Googling workflows. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I hate that, but also I have to like acknowledge it and work on my content for what people are actually searching, and not the thing that I'm actually, you know, going to give them or that I know that they need, which is really, I need you to stop fucking with your workflows if you don't have a customer journey and know what you want to do with your clients at every single touch point. Mm-hmm. Like, you should not be making workflows if you do not know that. But people are not Googling customer journey, Brittany. So, you know, if I want people to find me for the solution that they think that they need, I still got to talk about workflows.
Yep. And that it's a very, in a way, like humbling thing. It's like, okay, I have to talk about this, but it's also an empowering thing, because then you know that, and you know that you're not broken, and that the words that are coming out of your mouth are still valid. But it's like, okay, I can still say my words that I want to say, but I need to say this somewhere in it too, so that it, you know, signals the right people.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I'll have a podcast episode and the title doesn't talk about client emails at all. But when you get into the episode, the first part is literally, I know you want to hear about workflows, but we got to talk about this first. And then I talk about the client emails and the client communication and the customer journey. I used workflows to get you to listen. But honestly, we're talking about these things. And then, of course, so that no one thinks that I am like bamboozling you or doing clickbait. No. I do bring it around to workflows at the end. Like, and after you have these things ready, this is how it makes you create workflows that are efficient and that save you time in your business. But you can't jump to this without doing the pre-work, honey. You have to do the things that come first before you can get the end result that you want. And so, yes, I know that you all want workflows that work. But there's a lot of work that you got to do before you get there. And I need you to do that. I want to help you do that.
And that's what you're here to do. There's something coming to mind that as you're talking about that, with just understanding how all the pieces fit together and understanding which domino needs to tip off first, and then how it hits the other one. That has been a really cool thing that I think the done with you people have gotten out of it. They're like, oh, I understand how all the pieces. So not only do they feel confident, and I feel like people probably do this as well. Not only do they feel confident, they also understand, oh, it's this, then this, then this, then this. And I see like the order in which I need to work through it.
Yes, that is fascinating. Okay, Brittany, I got like I guess like a final question, because you and I know we could talk for hours.
Ever.
Like, are you comfortable where you are now? Like, you're still doing done for you, you're doing done with you. What do you kind of see as the impetus for pushing you closer to done with you, and when you might actually like close up that part? Because I will say, it's not that you have to get rid of it. I just feel like all of us have limited marketing time, right? We want to focus on the thing that we want to sell. And so I'm not telling you that you have to get rid of done for you. You might actually still enjoy them. But as I know that you are like progressing towards the done with you, and we'll talk about like why that's important to you now, but what do you think is going to push you, like if it's like a saw, right?
Mm-hmm.
On playground, what is it that's going to make you get closer to the done with you and perhaps set the done for you aside, even if for, a set amount of time?
I'm not sure what that thing will be. That's an interesting question. For me, a lot of it, when I make decisions, it's a feeling. So if I'm thinking through what that might be and imagining it, it might just be where you actually called one of the things that I feel sometimes, where it's like, I can't find that motivation that I normally have to do the thing. This happened with case studies when I decided to drop case studies and go specifically just down to SEO. I was having such resistance to even just drafting the thing. And I love writing copy. I love writing stories. I love the case studies, but I was having just that big resistance. So it'll probably be something like that will be my final straw. I am trying to be very, very mindful of how many things I'm booking at once, because me looking at how I'm managing my time, and also me knowing how I am and that I go like 115 million% overboard for everyone, it's not sustainable. It's not feasible in that way, which is why I like the done for you so much, because I still can go over and beyond, but I do have the individual set calls for the group. So I like having the group because I'm able to just show up and whoever's on the call is there. They can send their questions with the on-the-go Telegram support. But I'm not as pulled in so many different directions, I don't think. But the big thing is that thinking ahead with like wanting to be a mom and having a tiny human, and also like knowing that it's probably going to take a lot out of me physically to grow a human, and just like wanting to like step back a bit. And I've seen so many friends become moms in the last even just 2 years. And I can see them having these, I noticed like a couple different things. One is that they are just tired. They do want to pull back a little bit more. They do want to be more present. And I know that that's how I will want to be as a mom. And then I'm also seeing them hitting this like season in postpartum where they're like, do I even want my business? Do I want my business to look like this? So the way I'm built, I was always friends with like much older people, like 89-year-olds, like listening to them talking about their lives and then saying like, if I could have avoided this or if I could have not done that. And I'm like, yes, keep talking. I'm taking notes. I'm listening. So I feel like I'm really trying to do that with this season of life that I'm going to be entering into at some point soon-ish, hopefully. And just like really wanting to set myself up for success and not where I'm going to have like these mental and emotional spirals, which I could definitely see myself having. So just how can I set myself and my family up for like success and good things?
Yes. And I think that would be a perfect place to end, but you said something and I can't let it go.
What did I say?
The thing that I think that you mentioned that I really want to like highlight is I feel like the done with you gives you structure. It doesn't have to give you structure, but the way that you've designed yours with the weekly calls that are group, the way that you've given them this master checklist, you're basically checking these things off with them one by one. That is giving you structure on how it's supposed to go with each one of your clients. And I feel that in my done with you, it is the same. Now that I'm not letting them schedule calls willy-nilly, I actually went from taking calls Tuesday, Thursdays, and Fridays to now taking calls on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Now, those 2 days are like jam fucking packed with calls. I mean, like sometimes I'm on the call with 7 different clients in a day and I am exhausted. But then you know what happens? The next day, I don't have any client calls. And so I get to recuperate. I get to catch up on support tickets. I get to do these things. And so what I want to circle back to at the end of this conversation is that you feel like you're moving towards done with you so that you have a little bit more control, especially as you go into this next phase of life and motherhood and all of the things. And I feel like what we should all take away from that, regardless where you are in your life and what you want, is that this is your fucking business and you get to do what you want to do. And so sit down in a corner, get a piece of paper, and actually design the business and life that you want together, and make sure that they are not in competition with each other. So if I feel like I want to be limited to client calls 2 days a week, and on Mondays work on my business, and on Wednesdays have my self-care day, and on Fridays do things like these podcasts, I can do that because this is my business and I get to make the decisions.
I can't add anything further. Just that. Yep.
All right, guys. We're going to cut this off because, again, Brittany and I will sit here and talk to you forever, but I already told you what we're going to talk about next. I don't know if we're going to do that on her podcast or mine, but stay tuned. We're going to talk about Brittany's human design, and I'm going to bring in all my stuff with it. And we've probably got other shit to bring to the podcast, guys, so stay tuned. Brittany, thank you so much for joining me again. You know, you are like one of my favorite humans to talk to on this podcast.
Oh, ditto. I love every time I get to talk with you. Thank you for having me back.
Now, guys, we both talked about our offer suite, and maybe you are thinking about whether you want to do done for you or done with you. And I say, you know, treat it as an experiment. Don't think that you have to have everything figured out. Dip your toe with some beta clients. You will figure that shit out along the way. And if you feel like you need help with SEO or systems, you know that you have Brittany and I here in your corner. Okay, that's it for this episode. See you later.